If you're in search of a town with a boating and beach lifestyle, well, I'm about to tell you about Jupiter, Florida, with gorgeous beaches, a wonderful boating culture, waterfront living, an abundance of outdoor natural space, and a laid back lifestyle. So stand by, I'm going to tell you all about it. So before I dig into the details on the different boating and beach communities, I'd like to share this map with you to give you a 30,000 foot view of Jupiter in general. So here we go. So Juno Beach is the town just south of Jupiter, and then it runs north to Jupiter Inlet Colony is actually its own municipality, but this is where the Jupiter Inlet is. So this kind of divides. This is the north divide and the south divide down here, Juneau, with Jupiter Island and Tequesta being the next towns north. So what's really interesting is, first of all, you see all this beach. It's almost like 4 miles of beach, and all of it is public. It's like all the residential that's along here that I'm going to show you is on the west side of A1A. So you have all this beautiful beach. And right down here at the very beginning, it's the Jupiter off-leash dog beach, which is actually kind of an unusual thing, and it works great. Everybody loves it. So that's just down at the very south end of the beach. And then you go all the way up to Carlin Park, which is this great park with this bluff along the beach. And there's a restaurant there, and there's pavilions, and they do a lot of performances and different things go on there throughout the year. And then you get all the way up here to we're known for the Jupiter Lighthouse, which you can see here is just a beautiful lighthouse. And so this is Du Bois Park. And this is kind of a combination of the beach here on the right. And then you have this beautiful, you can see this, it's like a giant bathtub for kids. People just love it. And it never gets too crowded. Maybe on the weekends, but this beautiful blue water comes in from the Atlantic Ocean and comes down in this creek here. And you can see Du Bois Park, and you can see my videos showing you what a beautiful place this is. So that's the stretch of beach that belongs to Jupiter. But on top of that, when this inlet comes in here, the Intracoastal goes north here, and here's the Jupiter Lighthouse. And then it comes in and it merges with the Intracoastal over here to the south and the Loxahatchee River here to the west. So it's really unique in that there is a lot of, you can see here, the water goes this way, it goes up this way, and there's homes. You can live all along these waterfront, and you can be right out in the ocean in no time. And you can do a lot of cruising along the Intracoastal here, and then you see all these different canal networks. It really is a water town. It's an outdoor town. It's all walks of life. It has its share of just wonderful luxury communities, as well as beach communities, and then just small, kind of middle of the road residential communities that all really just enjoy the nature of Jupiter. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is I like to show the niche rating. And I used to say to people, shh, it's a secret, Jupiter. But I guess the secret is out, so I'm sharing it with you. But as you can see, it has an A rating. It has an outstanding high school. All the schools are really good. It's a very family-oriented town. It's low crime. People just love living here. And the nature is the finest that we have around here. And so, as you can see, with just a population of 60,000 people, it's densely suburban. It's mostly people that own their homes, a lot of seasonal residents, but also a lot of year-round residents. So that's just kind of an overview of Jupiter. And as we go into the next portion of this episode, I'm going to talk about the beach communities here along the ocean, which are quite a few. Some of these are combined with marinas that are part of the Intracoastal here that comes up to the west of, so this is basically like the beach area. Then we'll talk about on the west side of the Intracoastal, a couple of high-end residential options with a canal network and marinas and golf courses. and then also some of the communities that are here along the Loxahatchee River. So that's what we're going to cover next, and we'll get right to it. Okay, so I thought I'd start with yet another map, but I always think I'm a visual person, so I think that it helps. So this map I thought was super helpful. It comes from the town of Jupiter, and you can see it shows all of the developments by district, and there's 3 districts. And what we're going to focus on in this recording is all of these pink areas, which are the beach and boating communities. So I'm going to zoom in and show you. We're going to start down here, which I was telling you before that Juno Beach is the town to the south, and here's the Jupiter Inlet. And these are all the communities that are along the beach and intercoastal in District 3. So we'll start down here with the bluffs, and then we'll work our way up. And as you can see, as you go up US 1 here, there are a lot of communities that are between US 1 and A1A, but this whole stretch of ocean here, which is the beautiful thing about Jupiter, I think, which, like I said before, is about 4 miles of beach, is that all of these communities are on the west side of A1A. So back in the day, this was all dunes here, and as you can see, these pink shaded areas are still nature preserves. So it still has a lot of its natural state, and even some of these communities were built to be part of the nature, and so it's really beautiful. So we're going to start down here. The Bluffs was one of the first developments back in the early 80s. So the Bluffs runs along the intercoastal here to the west, and over here along the ocean to the east. And there are 4 different subdivisions within the Bluffs, and you'll see from these videos. So as you come up US 1 from the south, you get to Marcinski, and when you go to the left, the first development here, and there is a Publix right here on the corner at Marcinski, a nice shopping center with a Publix on the corner of Marcinski and US 1. And as you head west on Marcinski, first you'll go by Ocean Dunes, which is separate from the Bluffs, but it's a townhouse community that was also built in the 80s, and it's very nice. And as you can see, it's a short walk to the beach. And then as you head down Marcinski, the first as you head all the way to the intercoastal, there's the Bluffs Marina. And this is a beautiful marina with condos that are sited just all around the marina. And if you live in one of these condos, you could have your boat right there in the marina. And this is really known as a kind of a hurricane hole for protection. So a lot of people really do enjoy keeping their boats here at this marina. And you can also buy your slip, which I think is unique to a lot of the other marinas that are in the area. So as you can see, there's beautiful sport fishing boats and yachts, and the intercoastal is just here along the western edge. And this community has its own pool and clubhouse here, and they're even on the outer edge as you come in from Marcinski into the Bluffs Marina. For this whole development, there is, I think it's called the Bluffs School, but it's like a pre-K and daycare center that has a really good reputation. So people that live in this community can have their little ones go to school right in the neighborhood. So that is the marina area. And then just to the east of that is Bluffs Lakes, and then to the north, Bluffs River. And this part of the development is more quad townhomes, which are kind of typical Bergen de Vosta that were built all around northern Palm Beach County in the 80s. I think what's unique about these neighborhoods with these quad homes is that because of their proximity to the beach and the value of being, so close to the ocean and such a waterfront community, this neighborhood is really well maintained, and the units have maintained their value. And you don't even really see that many come up for sale that often because people really enjoy living here. And as you can see from the videos, the large shady oak trees, and it's just built beautifully into the nature of the area, which was what Bergen de Vosta was known for as developers. And so then the other 2 parts of the Bluffs are up here where you see the number 11, and this is called the Ridge. And these are more single family homes, but there's 0 lot line. So you do have more square footage as compared to the condos in the marina and the quad homes in the river and lakes. And this is also a very popular community because, again, you're just on the west side of US 1. You could have your boat in the marina here at the Bluffs. You can walk just across US 1 and be at the beach. And it is such a beautiful beach. And so this has an HOA. It's not a condo association. So you do have some flexibility as it's matured over the years. People have chosen like different roofs that they've put on their homes and they have a wider color selection and landscaping. So it has matured nicely and it doesn't just look like a cookie cutter neighborhood as it might have when it was first built. And then the last part of the Bluffs is called the Bluffs Ocean. And that's over here, this pink section that runs right along A1A. And you can see here, these are not too tall condos, but they are oceanfront condos. And this is also another popular option. And then as you see, A1A here, as it runs north here, just north of the Bluffs is this nature preserve. It kind of just buffers everything and keeps the peace and quiet. And that is kind of what this whole area is known for. It's a pretty quiet, nice area. This whole stretch of A1A here is just beautiful oceanfront. And back in the day, it was just really sand dunes and you just park on the bluff on the shoulder. And it still kind of has that feel because the beach doesn't get overly crowded because there aren't huge parking lots to go to the beach. You have to go all the way up here north to Carlin Park. So it's really a civilized beach environment. I like it very much. Okay, so now as we go north I'm going to stay on US 1, but I'll go back to the map and show you these different developments. I picked out a few that are my favorites. And then I also will have some clips here just to show you the general environment of the different communities. But the next one I'm going to show you is right here, and it's called Olympus. And what's unique about this is that it is single family homes. It's not a gated community, as the Bluffs is not a gated community either. But this has single family homes that have been built over maybe starting in the 80s all the way to some new construction, but a lot of renovations, and has become a very popular development. People have kind of rediscovered it because you have nice sized lots, larger homes. Most of the homes back up to water, which is like lakes that are around the development. And then it's an easy walk to the beach as well. So you really are in a beach community. So Olympus, you can see here, if you head east in the development, it has this shady walkway that takes you over to A1A and the beach. And then just north of that walkway are several other communities that you access from A1A, including one's called Xanadu, which is single family homes. It's kind of a small community, maybe like 40 homes. They're all zero lot line, but it's very much like everybody's like into the beach and surfing and windsurfing. That is kind of what it's all about. And so you can see, I'll show you some of these condos along A1A are just low profile condos. And if you come back over to US 1 heading north, you'll see there's Ocean Walk. And then we'll go up here, right around here is the Jupiter Yacht Club. So there are a couple of communities south of there on the Intracoastal that are low rise condos. And then you have this beautiful marina at the Jupiter Yacht Club with condos surrounding the marina. There's a popular restaurant called the Dive Bar, and across US 1 from here, there are other restaurants in this public shopping center just south of Indiantown. So between Indiantown Road and down to Marcinski and where the Bluffs are, you have a Publix at either end with other restaurants and shopping. And then you have shopping right here in the Jupiter Yacht Club development, as well as the marina and restaurants. So you can pretty much stay right here at the beach if that's what your thing is. And it's a really beautiful place to live. So now I'm going to go back to this neighborhood map one more time just to kind of give you your bearings again. So here's Indiantown Road. We covered all these neighborhoods down here. Now I'm going to talk about this area here. Before I do that, just so you can see, here's the Jupiter Inlet. We're going to talk about Carlin Park, which is a great park right here along the ocean. And these are some of these low profile type condos that are run between A1A and US 1 south of Indiantown Road. And then we're going to go up here to the River District, they call it. and a couple of really beautiful parks like Du Bois Park, where there are also condos here on the beach. But before I do that, I want to show you this other map to just show you how much beach there really is in Jupiter. I thought this was an interesting legend of all of the beach access points from Du Bois Park, which is where we're going to end up at the end of this section, and all the way down here to the dog beach at the very south end of Jupiter. And these are all your overpasses. And this whole length of the beach, as I said before, is all the buildings and homes and condos are on the west side of A1A. There's parallel parking this whole length of the beach area. And then there's all these nice walkways down to the beach. And as you can see that dog right there, there's a dog beach here. And then there's an off-leash dog beach down at the south end. So it really, I mean, if you can't tell already, it's really a beach town. As you can see from these beautiful clips of the ocean, just the most blue water, and it's just gorgeous. So Carlin Park sits at the north end of A1A, right before you get to Indiantown Road. And this is where there's a lot of public beach parking. So a lot of people that live out in those western communities park here. It's a very popular park on the weekends. But in the summertime and during the week, it's not terribly crowded, and it's beautiful. It has picnic pavilions all along the bluff overlooking the ocean. There's a restaurant here on the bluff where you can get breakfast in the morning, Sea Dogs. There is a civic center that is an old historic building that's on the bluff here as part of Carlin Park, and a lot of people rent it for parties. I've had a couple of parties there myself, and also weddings. So it's kind of old school Florida. There's no air conditioning. They open up the awnings, and it's just a beautiful view of the ocean along the sea grapes. And then you can walk down to the beach and you can have your wedding on the beach there. So that's beautiful. And so as you head north up A1A past Indiantown Road, you go by the Maltz Jupiter Theater, which is a local theater, and it's very popular. It used to be the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater, and that's right there at the beach, as well as the Jupiter Beach Resort. As you go up A1A, and you're almost to the end, really, you're approaching the Village District, and you have several communities of low-profile condos. Then you get to right here at Du Bois Park, and that is just, it's the most amazing park. It's right on the Jupiter Inlet, and the beautiful blue water comes in. You can look across to Jupiter Inlet Colony, which is a great little town right on the end of Jupiter Island. And it has this little creek system that runs in right off of the ocean from the inlet. And it is so fantastic. When you have children, you can take them there to the beach, and the water's so clean and blue, and very safe, calm. And it's really a fun place for families to have picnics and go swimming. And so that's really popular. And when you drive out just past Du Bois Park, there's a couple of high-rise condos right on the ocean there, but there's very few of those. That's like the only two buildings that sit right there on the ocean that are high-rise condos. And then after you come back out to A1A from Du Bois Park and you go north, I'm going to zoom in a little here. So here we were at Du Bois Park, and here's this wonderful swimming area. Here's the beautiful Jupiter Inlet. Here is A1A, where we came up from Indiantown Road, and this goes into what has been named the Inlet Village. And this all was at one time just really nature and a lot of old marinas and things, but since then it's kind of like it's its own little village district, and it's got restaurants along the inlet area here. You've got the Jupiter Lighthouse here, which is so beautiful, and there's a restaurant that's really popular called Guanabanas here. And then as you can see, you can park in this parking area where all these restaurants are, and you walk right out, and you can just see this beautiful view of the inlet and the lighthouse and all the boats going by. It's just fantastic. And then that ends like right here at US 1, which they've been working on this bridge right here, the US 1 bridge, and it's about to reopen. So soon that will give you direct access to the lighthouse, to Jupiter Island, to Tequesta, which is the next town north of here. So that really gives you a feel for what the beach communities are all about living in Jupiter. So I'd like to stop and take a minute and introduce myself. My name is Diane Wimbrow, and I am a lifelong South Floridian and realtor here in northern Palm Beach County. And I get calls and texts from people probably like you who are wanting to make the move to South Florida, but they're just not sure which town is the right one for them. And I just love getting these calls because I love South Florida and I love to help people find the right spot. So feel free to give me a call at the number below or shoot me a text and we can schedule a Zoom call. And in the meantime, we're going to get back to talking about Jupiter. So now that I've told you all about the beach communities, I want to tell you about just boating, because not only are the beaches fantastic, but just the geography of the Jupiter area just lends itself to be just a fantastic area for whether you're power boating or you're sailing out in the ocean, or if you just like to kayak and paddleboard. There are so many water options to enjoy. And so take a look at this. I'm going to show you this map that's like, the city map again. And the last we left off here over at the Jupiter Inlet. And first of all, I thought this was kind of interesting, but it shows you like these red spots here are all the different places where there are boat ramps and marinas. And so where I'm going with this is, here's the ocean, and this is all the beautiful beach we were talking about. And then here's the inlet. And if you go north along Jupiter Island, this is, I don't know if they call it, it has another name. They don't really even always refer to it as the Intracoastal, but this is the Intracoastal. It comes down, it meets the Loxahatchee River here. And if you follow this way, you have all this water, which I'm going to show you some beautiful neighborhoods that are along the Loxahatchee River. So you can live in a home, and this is Tequesta up here, but this is all Jupiter here. You could live in a home on the Loxahatchee River, or you could go down the Intercoastal here toward the bluffs, and this continues on down south, and live in one of these beautiful neighborhoods. Like this is Jonathan's Landing. I'm going to show you some clips from Jonathan's Landing. This is Admiral's Cove. So these are just beautiful luxury communities that have been created with beautiful space and marinas, canals, single family homes. Admiral's Cove is more all single family homes and just an amazing clubhouse and golf course. Jonathan's Landing is a little more laid back and has a lot of different residential options. So this is what I wanted to show you. So right here, if you look at these videos that I'm about to run, you'll see this is the Burt Reynolds boat ramp it's right here where the Intercoastal starts here from the Loxahatchee River. So here we were up here. Here's where A1A meets US 1. And right here, I'm going to show you a fairly new development that was built here on the Intercoastal with a hotel and shopping and restaurants. But as you come down US 1, south of the inlet, this is called Burt Reynolds Park. And it's boat ramps and a park. And it's really the perfect place to go. A lot of people live out in these western communities, or they live on a dry lot and they don't have their boat in their backyard. And so this is one of the main boat ramps. And as you see from the videos that I'm showing you, you can see the beautiful homes across the Intercoastal. There's lots of docks available for the ramps for putting your boat in, and it's a beautiful environment. And you can just drop your boat right in, and most people head out up here because the Loxahatchee River is such a wide expanse of water. This is another really popular area by the lighthouse. This is a park right here, so a lot of people like to hang out here. And up north on the Intercoastal, you can head straight out. It's kind of a little bit more treacherous inlet than some others. Jupiter Inlet, you need local knowledge, but you can be right out in the ocean. So that is the Burt Reynolds boat ramp. And then you come down, and then this area right here is called Harborside. And this is another place where you can bring your boat and tie up here. And Harborside, you can get to Harborside by land or water. And it's got a Tommy Bahama restaurant. It's got a steakhouse. Tiger Woods has a restaurant there. There's the river walk that runs all along US 1 underneath the Indiantown Bridge, and that Riverwalk continues up through Harborside. So you could live down south, and say you're at the Jupiter Yacht Club that we talked about earlier, you can walk along the Riverwalk north to Harborside and continue on north. So they've done a really good job of connecting all these water areas. So that's a very popular shopping area to visit, and there's a lot of events there throughout the year. Just south of Harborside, you go west over the Indiantown Road Bridge, and you can see looking south as you head over the Indiantown Bridge, the Intercoastal, and this view kind of looks southwest, and that's where we're going to stop next, is at Jonathan's Landing. And so you're seeing this Jonathan's Landing in the distance. So once you get over the Indiantown Bridge, the first light, you make a left, and that takes you into Jonathan's Landing. And that is a very large development that was started back in the 80s, and it is, I think it was like one of the first of these types of communities. I mean, there's a lot more like this in Palm Beach Gardens, and there's also Admiral's Cove, which is just south of here. But as you enter in, right before you go in the gate at Jonathan's Landing, to the left toward the Intercoastal, there's another place called Waterway Park, and that is another place where you can put your boat in, similar to Burt Reynolds Park. And it's a private community, so it is gated. And as you enter in, you just are in this beautiful natural development with separate sub-developments within it of some single-family homes, which are just beautiful, townhouses, low-rise condos, and then you have this network of canals that run all through the community. It has a beautiful clubhouse with a golf. I think there's more than one golf course. And there's also a marina inside of Jonathan's Landing. So if you live in one of these beautiful luxury homes, you'll have your boat in your backyard, and you'll be right off the Intercoastal, so you can be right out in the water just like that. But if you live there for the golf and you also want to keep your boat there, the Loggerhead Marina system, there's a company that owns the Loggerhead Marinas all around South Florida. They operate the marina here in Jonathan's Landing. So that is like right on the Intercoastal. You can see here the beautiful natural state of the Intercoastal. It's hard to describe how beautiful the surroundings are in Jupiter. Having grown up in South Florida, especially down in the Fort Lauderdale areas that were developed in the 50s and 60s, it was just like tear everything down and rebuild, one building on top of the other. But by the time they got up here into northern Palm Beach County, with the MacArthur Foundation having owned a lot of this land, things got developed very thoughtfully and slowly. And Jonathan's Landing, I think, is like the perfect example of a beautiful community with just different water features throughout the community, and this beautiful marina, which is kind of the, to me, a very unique feature of the community. And you can see here all these beautiful yachts. And if you have a center console and you're on a dry lot in Jonathan's Landing, you can keep your boat in the shed, and you just call ahead and they put the boat in the water for you. And at some point, there were also availability if you don't live in Jonathan's Landing. I don't know what their availability is these days, because keeping your boat in a marina or in one of these loggerhead sheds has become very challenging, because it's such a popular thing to do. So this Jonathan's Landing is an outstanding community, and I would highly recommend it. Okay, so the last area I'm going to talk about for boating enthusiasts is I'm going to call it the river district, or the river area. And in order to give you a feel for what I'm talking about, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so here we are. And I'm just going to remind you, like we already talked about, the main north-south roads, if you're living in the eastern communities, are A1A, which we talked about along the beach, and then US 1, which is on the western part of the beach side. It runs along the east side of the Intercoastal. And as you can see, A1A joins with US 1, and then here's the bridge that goes over where the inlet is and the Loxahatchee River, and that is closed right now, but it's going to be open hopefully in the next few months. But so right now the traffic's being diverted across Indiantown Road to the third main north-south road, which is, here it says Old Dixie Highway, but it's actually also referred to as alternate A1A. And then here's Jonathan's Landing that we just talked about, and Admiral's Cove here. And so when you take alternate A1A right now, the traffic that's going north up to Jupiter Island and to Cuesta all the traffic is flowing up alternate A1A. And there's a bridge here that goes over the Loxahatchee River also. And you can see from these videos I'm showing you, residential all in this little peninsula here with restaurants. And there's parks and open space here, and then houses up here and businesses. And you can look straight. If you're standing on this bridge and you look straight east, you can see you can go straight out the inlet. And then when you turn and look west, you can see the Loxahatchee River and the river network, which goes in all directions here. And this is Tequesta up here. Here's the Loxahatchee River. Here's Jupiter. And then all along here are homes and low profile condos, residential all along here. And where we're going to go is over here to Pennock Point. I'm going to show you just the beautiful setting and environment of these gorgeous homes along Pennock Point. So we're going to go up. We were at Jonathan's Landing here. We're going to go west on Indian Town Road to Alternate A1A. And you can take Alternate A1A up over the bridge to Tequesta. But in this case, we're going to go down Center Street. And Center Street's kind of it's kind of an old school street. It's been there a long time. And there's a beautiful garden center here. All of the high-end tradespeople are here. Designers and architects and contractors, as well as, just all the different tradespeople that serve the residential construction and renovating that's going on. And so you take Center Street and you get to Loxahatchee River Road. And as you go north on Loxahatchee River Road, you get to Pennock Point. This is Pennock Point Road, and it goes around the loop here. And this is just beautiful. Even if you're on a dry lot here, the homes are on very large lots. The houses that are here, as you can see, just even from the road, how deep, they're all gated. The individual homes are, most of them are, and they have huge front yards, but also the lots are so big that their backyards are really like their front yards. It's so beautiful. And if you're living here on a Pennock Point, you can just look straight out the inlet practically. It's so beautiful. And the sunsets and sunrises are just gorgeous if you live anywhere here. And you can see all the waterfront that's available. Now, the difference here, of course, is the water in Jupiter, as you saw in the ocean clips, is just beautiful. We have like Bahama water here, and it flows in here. And when you go north up the Intracoastal, it continues to be really nice, beautiful blue water. The only thing is that you do get, this becomes brackish over in this area because this is a fresh water that's coming in from the Loxahatchee River. So it does get brackish in here. Not that that is a plus or a minus, but just to make the point that you have the merging of the fresh water with the salt water from the ocean and the Intracoastal. But anyway, so this is just a fantastic, beautiful place to live. And there are other roads here along the river in Tequesta that have just as beautiful, like this point here, just gorgeous, beautiful homes to live. And I mean, it's the kind of place where once you go home, you don't want to go back out because it's just such a beautiful area to live. And you have your boat readily available to you. And, we have such fantastic weather most of the year that it's really a wonderful place to be. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful. I'd love to hear your comments or questions in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you know every time we have a new video. And if this wasn't the right beach town for you, check out my video that I did on the top 5 beach towns in Palm Beach County.